currently balanced on top of 2 yoga blocks, so fingers crossed this actually worked. I posted on my Instagram way back in April now. I'm so sorry. If anyone would be interested in me talking about my debuts as a stage kitten performer in the West End and as a stage manager. And the majority of you said yes. So here we are. On that post, I did say that I would be drinking, but I've decided to do this sober, which is a bit more terrifying. I'm not sure if this is well spoken about in this industry or not. I'm not seeing many videos like this. Hopefully this might help newer performers who are just starting. Or for older, more seasoned performers, this might give you a bit of a laugh. So either way, if you're a newer performer, let me know if this is helpful. And if you're a more seasoned performer, maybe let me know your stories down below. I'll share some funny anecdotes. So my first actual paid gig for stage was as a stage kitten. So my stage kittening debut was for a competition in Nottingham, which is Miss Midlands Burlesque. Yeah, I will say that all of my experiences are with burlesque shows. So if talk of that sort of thing, possible nudity, offends you, I'm sorry. Debut as a stage kitten burlesque competition. I actually entered this competition, but I didn't make the cut this year, whatever reason. I want to say this was back in 2015. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody that knows me that well. I applied, I didn't get in. I then messaged the producer asking if I could help in any way, just because I wanted to learn more. And so from that I got the job as a stage kitten. On the day, I was fairly nervous, like didn't know what to expect at all. I mean, I've been backstage a few times before this point, but I'd never been as like part of a stage crew. So I went, I took a notepad, pen, some food, a costume. I kind of opted safe and went for black, just because, like, yeah, you are on stage, but the point is that you are there to do your job. So I wanted something that was neat but nice, if that makes sense. And it seemed like the standard in the industry was just black. If there wasn't a costume for the show, which was the first thing I asked, that's what I would wear. So I got to the venue, had something to eat, quickly got changed, met with the producer and the stage manager. I think I was also introduced to light and sound at that point, but I didn't talk to them at all really during the show. I was mostly in with the performers in the performer area before the show, taking notes, asking them if they needed a hand with anything, that sort of thing. First experience was fairly standard, I guess, straightforward. You just kind of listen to your stage manager, you work things out. That's kind of that. Yeah, it was a lot of running up and down, a lot of chatting to the performers, making sure they were okay. So yeah, fairly much as I expected, I guess. The one sort of funny thing that happened was the last performer on. We knew she was going to do a wine pour, so like an entire bottle of like fizzy wine, like Prosecco or champagne. So that went all over the stage. Me and the stage manager, we had to clean that up using blue roll, which one of us had got from behind the bar. I was clearing the bit nearest the stairs up to the stage, and the stage manager was at the other side of the stage. And at this point we told the host side not to come onto the stage until we'd done it. And just because of the robe that she was wearing, we both knew how like amazing and, you know, not cheap that robe is. So yeah, I was there scrubbing. It was mostly done. So the host had kind of come up the stairs a bit. I was on the stage like right behind me. My knees, because I was on hands and knees scrubbing at this point, my knees slid from underneath me. So I accidentally went into middle splits. Right at the very front of the stage, right in front of the audience, like my boobs practically in this guy's face. So yeah, and the host kind of had a bit of banter with that. I thought I'd done like really badly, and I was just like, oh my god. But yeah, turned out it was like one of the funny things. And yeah, I've since worked with that producer, that host, and that stage manager. So yeah, that was a good first experience. My debut as a performer was I remember this, I'm pretty sure the year of this is accurate. It's December 2015. September, I think, was the competition. And then I made my professional debut in December. Yeah, this was as part of a sort of festival that was run in Doncaster over that weekend, and was with the producer of the competition that I kittened for. Yeah, I remember like being really nervous going up to Doncaster. I'd never been to Doncaster before. That was a new experience. But yeah, the night before I was podium dancing for a local rock night called Wildside, and I was determined that I was not going to drink that night. I was like, nope, I'm going to remain completely sober no matter what. And there was a drag queen there. I can't remember the name, but we kind of got talking and they bought me vodka, and I ended up podium dancing until 3 that morning. Got back at maybe 4, 5, and then I was up at 8 o'clock sewing sequins and fringing to my thong for the act that I was going to do later that day. Don't do that, new performers. So yeah, that really is a confession. I am a lot better now. But yeah, I was offered to do that, and I did not drink much whilst podium dancing, but I did stay till the end of the event. So yeah, I was really tired on the train up, but it was fine. Like I'd remember to pack everything. I knew my choreography. I even had a backup of my music. So yeah, I rock up with my mini case of stuff. My face mostly done, and I just had to add a few bits. So I remember getting there, chatting to the producer, a couple of the other performers who were kind of hanging around. I don't remember the audience being too big, which was a bonus at this point, just because like I think if it was many more people, I would have just been like way too nervous, possibly. Yeah, it was an act that I'd done quite a few times up to that point, so I was like fairly confident with it, knew what I was doing, so that side of things was good. Yeah, I got there, had a look at the running order, so I knew kind of when I needed to be ready. And the way that it worked, there wasn't a backstage there, it was in a pub, so I had to wait until other performers had been on so I could then go into the toilets to get ready. It was kind of like one in one out system from what I remember. Yeah, I got ready. I just remember like being completely nervous, like really badly nervous. I got on the stage, did the act. From what I remember, it went fine. If anyone watching has seen my blue parasol act more recently, it has improved so much. The costumes got way better. I think my acting and stage confidence has improved as well. I think I just needed that stage time and needed to kind of get that momentum going. I felt like I did a good job. I hope I did. So I then got on the train back. I was still in full stage makeup, my wig. I looked like a pretty much 1940s pin-up on the train. I got quite a few stairs. I do remember that. And then straight off the train, I ran to see Gilded Merkin, which is on in Nottingham that night. So yeah, that was a crazy weekend. It was amazing though. Like, what an introduction into that scene. And like I said, I was as professional as I could be, and I really enjoyed it. So from there, I believe my next debut as such was in the West End. So this one wasn't exactly like a paid professional thing. It was as part of a competition called Burlesque Idol. I went and competed in 2018, March 2018. I remember that it was snowing really badly a day or two before, and on the actual day itself, it was quite badly snowing. So getting from Nottingham to London, I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to make it. But I did. Somehow I made it. Me and my case and my parasol yet again made it down. And this kind of shows like the massive step up in that act and the difference between the first time in Doncaster and that time in the West End. Yeah, we actually got the bus down because we weren't sure what trains were going to be doing. So me and my boyfriend got the bus. We got to the hotel. I had a mini I'm in a bit of a panic. Double checked my case, just made sure that what I needed for the show was in there. From the hotel, I got to the venue. I do remember being pretty early, but I think that was nerves and just wanting to get there and knowing what I was doing. Back then, it was at the Hippodrome Casino. I believe it's the same part of the casino that Magic Mike is now. So yeah, I went and met the producer and some of the other competitors. I think there was 1 or 2 other competitors there when I arrived. So I met with them, saw what the stage was going to be like, which was pretty cool. Got taken up to the dressing rooms. I think I had a tech run, so I did that. Noted kind of if the stage was slippy or not. I think it was fine, from what I remember. The weird thing was that the judges' table was actually on the stage itself. So I kind of had to decide, do I perform to the audience or do I perform to the judges? So I kind of did a mixture of both, and it is the most I've had to concentrate doing this act and the most that I've probably had to like really go for it. I do remember on the night a couple of things going wrong in that act, but if I'm completely honest, I have kept maybe 1 or 2 of the mistakes in because I thought it was better than than what I actually had in mind for it. But I do remember that even on the coach and then kind of at the venue and getting ready, remember that is the most nervous I have ever felt. Like before or since, I've never felt like that. Like I spent an hour and a half on my makeup just procrastinating, like just painting my face, and I didn't know who the judges were before I went, and then kind of found out when we got there. One of them I knew really well and really respected. Like I knew her work really well. So yeah, that was amazing getting to perform in front of them, and for such a like big sort of brand in burlesque, like in the London scene particularly. So yeah, it was just insane and such an amazing experience, and all the other competitors were just stunning and amazing. So it was great to work with them too. Most of them I've worked with since, I believe. So yeah, and it was just such an amazing experience, and I still can't believe that I can actually say technically I have performed in the West End. Like that was a goal for me since I was a kid, like going to see musicals and things. I was like, I want to do that. I want to be in the West End, and never ever thinking that I could do that. So yeah, that is that, I guess. I was stage manager next. That was my next debut. Because I remember it was for another local to Nottingham show, run by a local troupe who I know the leader of very well. For me, stage managing wasn't too different to stage kittening at that point, because I'd had like a lot of experience as a kitten, so I tend to just kind of muck in and do whatever I need to do, even if it is slightly more than what a kitten would normally do. Just muck in and do what needs to be done. I mean, it did feel like a little bit more of a responsibility, because I was talking to sound and light more, making sure the performers were happier, more taking down like more of their details, and really noting what they needed for their acts. Sometimes I'll do that as a kitten. It depends. Most of the time it is stage manager that tends to find out all those details and do all of that. Yeah, I got to the venue, I think it was in Mansfield, checked in. I think I was one of the first few people there, which tends to happen if you are a kitten or a manager. You will normally be one of the first to show up, and then probably one of the last to leave apart from the producer. Yeah, the manager, I kind of got there, settled in, got ready, and then just started chatting to the performers as per usual. There wasn't any distance between the stage and backstage, which was great. So there wasn't a lot of running involved in that show at all. The most funny story, I guess, is that I carried a live snake onto stage for one of the performers. I was handed a box which had a blue velvet cover on it, and was told to kind of go on and place that on the stage. Knowing this performer, I should have suspected this, but I didn't. It was only when she was like partway through her act and brought the snake out, I was like, okay. In the same show, I also got to carry a actual sword, which was pretty cool. There wasn't any big mess in that show either. So yeah, that was all plain sailing. I actually haven't stage managed since then, but I'm hoping to. It'd be nice. Those are kind of all my debuts, really. I tend to find that, like, most are more or less the same, to be honest. Some more memorable than others. Like, for me, my most memorable is probably the first time as a stage kitten and my first time in the West End, because those both meant quite a lot to me, because I really learnt a lot from those debuts. Sorry this took so long to film, and it is kind of weird reminiscing about theatre and things at this point. It's been so long. I miss backstage and I miss hugs and like just chatting to other performers and people there. It's yeah, it's just so bizarre not having that in my life at the moment, but fingers crossed we will get back to that soon.